Wisconsin continues their dominance and goes, right by Northwestern. Obviously, it was a home game for Wisconsin, and they really took it to them. Max Klesmit went off in this one, and every time I watch this Wisconsin team, it's like these guys just play really, really well together. There's nobody on this team that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just an outstanding player. It makes my jaw drop every time I watch him. I mean, their whole starting lineup is just all good players who work really well together. And unfortunately for Northwestern, they were on the receiving end of the loss on this one because Wisconsin's a really good basketball team, and Greg Gard really has these guys going. Kent, what were your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, like just to dig into that a little bit deeper, like not only do they play well together, but they have now, I mean, after what you just said about, how do you say his last name? Max
Klesmit.
Klesmit. Okay. I always seen his name, never knew how to pronounce it. But anyways, after the night he had, they have like 5 guys now that any given night could be the guy for them. When you have Crowl, Wahl, Storr, and then even Hepburn every once in a while could have a night where he's the one that's like carrying the load for them. So they have a lot of guys. They're very disciplined on defense, which is like a staple at Wisconsin. But the difference is what I just said. They have somebody that can go off every night, and they're playing so well offensively. It's just really weird to see them. We talked about this last week, JR. It's really weird to see them like averaging over 80 points a game. It seems like every time that they play, it's hard to get my mind around. But now that they have those 4 or 5 legitimate scores, and the way that they have been playing defense throughout the years, and they're still doing it this year, I'm fully on the Wisconsin bandwagon. I think that there's a legitimate chance that they could win the Big Ten. We talked about that being something fun to talk about earlier on. I think that they could really win it at this point. They're second in Vegas odds right now to win it behind Purdue, obviously, but they haven't lost yet, and they only play Purdue once. I think we discussed last week. Real shot to win the conference this year, and I really like this team. Really, really like this team. I think that they can make a run later on in the season. For Northwestern, I do got to talk about them for just a second. Same thing I kind of talked about with Illinois. I'm not very concerned about this loss for them. I still think that Northwestern is a really good team. You already know Chris Collins is my favorite coach in the conference. They're pretty much the opposite of everybody else in the Big Ten from what I just basically looking at it from a casual standpoint. And what I mean by that is everyone else in the Big Ten, it seems like, could lose on any given night to anybody. But Northwestern, with the exception of a few games, like 2 games this year, Chicago State and Purdue, they have beat everybody they're supposed to beat, and they've lost to everyone they're supposed to lose to, with the exception of those 2 games. So not really worried about this loss for them. I think that they're still going to be strong and at the upper echelon of this conference throughout the year.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, like you said, Northwestern's one of those teams that they play well together as well. But this team's just going to kind of go as Buie goes. Not to the same extent that Maryland does with Jameer Young. But, when Buie is only scoring points, you're going to kind of see those effects. And now I don't think it was so much on Buie in this game as it was, kind of the guys around him weren't scoring as well. I didn't like some of the movement off the ball in this game for Northwestern. But, we also have to give props for Wisconsin on that. Wisconsin plays really tight defense. Now in this game, it was more the shooting that took over than, kind of the defense. But at the end of the day, Wisconsin, they just play good defense, and they kept Northwestern to under 65 points, barely over 60. So, you just have to really like what you're seeing from a Wisconsin team. And I'm with you, Ken. If I'm a Northwestern, I don't put my head down after this one. You went into Madison, you gave them a good game, an 8-point loss to the number 1 team in the Big Ten right now. I don't hang my head on this one. I say, you know what? We gave them a good battle, on to the next one and go from there. Shaps, what were your thoughts on this game?
I'm officially taking Wisconsin seriously. Did not take them seriously coming into the season, but they are just night and day better than on offense, especially than last year. AJ Storr has been really, really good for them. And then it's, like Ken said, it's a different guy that goes off every night. This game, it was Klesmit. Last year, Chucky was just trying to do too much, I think, really forcing the issue, didn't have enough consistent help around him. Now they've got, a lot of veterans on the team. and Chucky doesn't have to do as much. He only had 4 points in this game, but he still had a huge impact. And it doesn't have to be, just scoring the basketball anymore. He can, he really annoyed Buie on the defensive end. And then on the other end, for Northwestern, I stopped taking them seriously when they lost to Chicago State. I don't think people understand, if you don't like, maybe it's people outside of Chicago don't really understand how big of a joke Chicago State is. It's basically a high school team. Everyone plays them to just get some practice reps in. It was their first Big Ten win in like 100 years. It was the first ranked team I think they've ever beaten.
Wow.
This is a historically terrible loss that not enough people are like actually talking about. Chicago State is so bad. They lost to DePaul, who's like the worst major conference team in the country, pretty much. It's such a bad loss. You cannot lose to Chicago State. It is harder to lose to Chicago State than it is to beat Purdue.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you. What about the Purdue win, though? Don't those cancel each other out or no?
No, they don't. Okay. It is way harder to lose to Chicago State at home than it is to beat Purdue. Purdue, as we've shown, they can struggle on the road sometimes. And Northwestern beat them last year. So whatever it is, they kind of have a recipe for it. To lose to Chicago State is an absolutely insanely embarrassing moment for Collins and Northwestern. So I can't take them very seriously. They are clearly a kind of, it's hard to explain, but Boo is just showing a lot of frustrations lately, especially in these road games. If he's not getting the calls going his way, if he's not getting help from his teammates, he lets you know that he's frustrated. He really does not hide it. That it's really, though, the front court of Northwestern that bothers me the most. They're really bad. I don't think Nicholson's good. I think he just takes up a lot of space. He's a good rim protector, decent rebounder, but he does not bring you really anything on the offensive end. He really struggles against bigger guys that can step out and pull him away from the basket, guys that can shoot. He's just not quick enough to get out and guard guys. Everyone knows now that the post trap is coming for Northwestern. So Wisconsin, who is really, really good, their big guys are really good passers. They're just waiting for the trap to come. And Illinois did the same thing too. You're just looking over your shoulder. And the second it comes, you either got somebody diving to the basket, and if they collapse on him, then a shooter's going to be wide open. So it's a terrible matchup going against Wisconsin when they have good post passers and surrounded by good shooters. So it seems like Northwestern's just not quick enough to cover up all those spots. And then they're not consistent enough on the offensive end to be able to make up for it. So that's why they've been struggling a lot lately. So yeah, Wisconsin continues to roll on through the Big Ten to, I think, most people's surprise. And Northwestern, I think, is going to just end up somewhere in the middle.
Well, Northwestern, I mean, they lack athleticism, right? I mean, that's one of Nicholson's biggest deficiencies. Is I think he's a good passer. I think that he makes good decisions down in the post, but at the same time, he just lacks that athleticism to be able to guard some of the bigger guys like you were talking about, Shaps. And I think that's where some of Buie's frustration comes from is, I mean, we have this guy who is an amazing scorer, super athletic, really does a great job of handling the ball and getting it to his teammates, but if his teammates can't get open or they can't find themselves in the right situation, or if they do get open and they botch a shot, or if they botch a pass, one more pass they should have made, I'd be getting really frustrated if I were Buie too. And like I said, a lot of that just comes from Wisconsin's good defense in this game. But another piece I wanted to touch on was, Chucky Hepburn. He's one of those guys that doesn't really get the love because he doesn't fill up the box score, right? Like you said, he only had 4 points in this one, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He did get 3 steals, so that's really good for a guard to be able to get. But I don't know. You guys tell me if this is a hot take or not. Is Chucky Hepburn a top 3 guard in the Big Ten? Not like
No.
point guard. top 3
No.
guard in
No.
the Big Ten. Because if I was creating a team, I think back to that draft. Were you in that, Kent, when we did the draft?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I think back to that draft, I should have used my 5th or 6th pick on him because I just love the way Chucky Hepburn plays and how he plays within himself and plays within this team. Kent, am I right or am I wrong?
Wrong. Definitely wrong. Definitely wrong. I mean, there's like, I guess I could do it right now if you wanted me to, like 5 better guards than him.
Okay. But are they better guards or just better scorers? Because like that's my thing with Buie is like Buie's a better scorer, but is he a better guard? Because Buie,
I mean, what do you want out of your guards? Don't you want them to score?
I do. I mean, I do want them to score to a certain extent, but I also want them to run the offense, play really good defense, and be disruptive and play well off the ball.
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
maybe top 5. Maybe I'm being a little big with top 3, but top 5.
I don't know. I think he does a good job of the things that you're saying right now. Like he doesn't turn it over a ton, and he runs the offense. And at Wisconsin, they love that. So I don't know.
That's what they need. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's what they need. So for Wisconsin, yeah, he's a great guard, but I think like in the conference overall, though, no, like he's not on my radar. I don't know. Maybe that's being mean, and I love Wisconsin.
No, I
want to say I'm fully on the bandwagon. I think they can win the conference, but he's not the reason why, though, that I love them.
Okay, all right.
I don't dislike him either. I just think he's just kind of there. He's just part of the team. I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
there's a lot of guys that can do what he does. That's all I'm saying. I don't know.
Yeah, he's probably replaceable, but I think he is much improved from last year because he's more accepting of his role and he just doesn't have to carry the load as much this year. So, I mean, he's doing a good job in his spot, but yeah, there's a number of guards I would take ahead of him.
Okay, so I have a rational love for Chucky Hepburn. That's okay. I'll be that guy. I'll have a rational love.
He's been fun to watch this year. I'll give him that.
Russ says Wisconsin needs to start dropping games if Purdue is going to have a chance. Yeah, we'll talk about Purdue next, but I don't know where the games are going to come from to drop. I don't want to turn this into a Wisconsin has an easy schedule segment because that's enough on social media, right? But I mean, like, I just don't know where the games are going to come from for them to start dropping them because like we said, Wisconsin's a really good team and they only play Purdue once, right? And Illinois once, I think.
Well, I think that's what we said last week. I don't know. I'm going off what we said last week. I think that's right.
That's what we said last week. Yeah, I mean they get Michigan State
which they already beat Michigan State on the road, so like that's not going to be a problem, I feel like.
I think Illinois has to play them in Madison.
Oh, no, they get 2 games against Purdue. I'm sorry. They have Purdue the last game of the year at Purdue.
Okay.
So that could be a huge game for the conference right there at Purdue at the end of the season if they're both playing. Yeah.
Russ is right, though. If Wisconsin does not lose a game, they will probably win the Big Ten.
It's a great point. Great point.
You have more wins than the other teams, you win the Big Ten. This is a good point here from Southside OC for you, Shaps. Will this be the year that Gard beats Brad Underwood?
No. It will not.
Not going to happen?
No, we will smother them.
Okay. All right. You heard it here first. Greg Gard going to get smothered.
Yeah, no, we own Gard.
And then Kent, this might be more for you. I watch the NFL, but I'm not huge into it. Need you guys' quick NFC wildcard predictions before you sign off. Kent, why don't you go first here?
Well, the Lions are winning 21-17 right now. That just went to halftime. So, I guess I'll just kind of double that. I'll say that it's going to be 42-30 at the end of the game. Lions are going to win by 12.
42-30. Okay.
Yeah.
So then what? Green Bay moved on. I don't even.
Green Bay did beat Dallas. So next week it'll be Green Bay coming to Detroit to catch another L this year.
No, it'll
Even though
be
they did beat us
San Francisco.
Green Bay's going to San Francisco.
Oh, is that how it works? See, I don't know how the playoffs works out. We're gonna get Oh, you're right. So we'll get the winner of Tampa Bay and the Eagles. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see the Eagles next week. God,
I literally had to.
I wouldn't book that. Eagles would look dreadful.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Sheps? Who's coming out of the NFC?
Well, probably the 49ers, but
True.
yeah, no, I want Detroit to make a good run at it for sure. They're a fun team to watch, and I don't know what's wrong with the Eagles. They've completely fallen apart, so I would not be surprised at all if they lose to the Bucs tomorrow.
You know what? Screw it. Baker Mayfield, Tampa Bay. They're going to make it out of the NFC. That's probably a bad pick. No, I think the Lions have a really good shot. I think it's probably going to either be the Lions or the 49ers. I think that the Lions have a really good defense. Aiden Hutchinson doesn't put up all the sack numbers that people like, but he gets a lot of pressures and does a good job. And then as long as nobody gets hurt on the 49ers, I think the 49ers probably make it out of there because that's been like their big thing is they get guys hurt, don't they? Like Christian McCaffrey and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
Like I said, I'm not the
got
biggest,
hurt last year.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest NFL guy, but I can talk a circle around it if people want me to. So, Russ says, "Huddle curse." Yes, we do curse people from time to time. Yeah, watch out. Hepburn's gonna get the L there. All right. Thanks for listening to the Big Ten Huddle. Please do like and subscribe. We appreciate that. If this was your first time listening, we are the Big Ten Huddle. We cover all things Big Ten football and basketball. We have a long episode every Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, all at 9 o'clock. So come in, check us out, get in the chat, let us know what you're thinking. We would love to have you join us and learn more about the Big Ten.